One more is there, sir. One more is there, Swami.
You finish it also.
Telugu Satsang questions are
Oh, Telugu Satsang questions. How many questions?
one, se- eight, 8 questions, Swami.
Oh, then you first inquire whether there are anybody asking for questions. Then according to time you can adjust.
Okay. Anybody wants to ask questions to Swami? Hello? Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, uncle.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Yes, tell me.
Swami, we learned that Mata Devi Lakshmi and all the deities are wife of God, wife of the Lord. So they represent the creation, and they derive the power from the God and they bless us. And when I was reading Annapurna Ashtakam, one of the lines I felt was meaning that Lord, the Divine Mother gives power to Lord Vishnu, Shiva, Shiva. So how should we take Divine Mother, sir, as the wife of God or the one who is giving power to the God?
Well, you see, there are two schools of philosophy. One is the Brahman or Parabrahman as the superior, supermost entity. Another is the power, the unimaginable power as the supermost entity. See, possessor of power and power. If you take possessor of power, it is God, Brahma or Parabrahma. If it is power itself, then it represents the Adiparashakti, the Divine Mother, who is giving power to all gods. Whether the power is giving the power to gods or whether the possessor of the power is giving the power to gods, it is one and the same. It is a quarrel between Shaktaya and Vedanta. Shaktaya people say power is the ultimate. Vedanta philosophy people, Vedanta school people, they say it is the possessor of the power is the highest. Whether it is possessor of power or power itself, both are unimaginable. The unimaginable is the highest. Unimaginable God or unimaginable power are one and the same, because there can't be two unimaginable items existing together. Any number of unimaginable items existing together becomes only one unimaginable item. So whether you call as unimaginable power or possessor of unimaginable power, that is unimaginable possessor of unimaginable power, it is one and the same. The result is only one entity, that is unimaginable power or unimaginable possessor of unimaginable power. It is only one. There is no question of, you see, this is a quarrel between male and females. Males representing Vedanta philosophy, females representing the philosophy of Shakti. Their quarrel they have superimposed on philosophy, because whether the ultimate God is male, actually Vedanta people don't say it as male also. They say it as possessor of power. Possessor. It is not male or female or neutral. They indicate it as neutral. Even you can't say it as neutral because it is unimaginable. The word unimaginable dissolves all these quarrels. Whether you call it as unimaginable neutral entity or unimaginable male entity or unimaginable female entity, or whether it is possessor of power or power itself, all become one only, one entity, one unimaginable God. You can't bring any distinction of possessor of power and power, Brahman and Shakti, or you can't bring a distinction between male and female, all these differences disappear because there is only one unimaginable entity, ultimate, that is unimaginable God, and it is beyond gender, it is beyond the difference of possessor of power and power. You call it as possessor of power or power, both are one and the same. So, all these quarrels end with the concept of unimaginable God. That adjective unimaginable in the beginning, God, that dissolves all these quarrels. Okay?
Super, Swami. Thank you so much.
Okay. Then?
Anybody else?
Yes, yes, 1 second. My phone is not working. Hello?
Hello?
Hello. Sadhu Swami.
Tell me.
One question.
Ah.
One of the discourses, after reading this about Kastalu and all, that Mata Kunti also desired only difficulties. Okay? Difficulties. She can mention the God's name every time. Immediately you said that.
Yes.
Difficulty by the grace of God. Okay? And happiness comes by His anger. Here my question is, how does happiness come by His anger? Is అర్థం కాలేదు.
No, you tell me in Telugu first.
Can come here.
You
ఏంటంటే మనుషులకి హలో స్వామి.
his voice is breaking.
Yes, స్వామి. ఏంటంటే ఏం చెప్పారంటే ఇక్కడ మీరు గాడ్ గేవ్ డిఫికల్టీస్ బై హిస్ గ్రేస్.
By his grace.
అలా ఉంది. గ్రేస్ ఆఫ్ గాడ్. Okay? And happiness comes by his anger. Okay. Anger, God happiness to anger అంటే నాకు ఇది అర్థం అవ్వట్లేదు. So how does happiness comes by his anger?
See, difficulties, if you take difficulties as punishments of sins done by the soul, then since sins were done and sins are opposed by God, God is furious against the sin, and that is why He is giving the punishment as per the constitution. So, if you take the punishments as, if you take the difficulties as punishments of sins, then God's anger is there. But these difficulties, they improve the devotion towards God, and thus when the devotion in the devotee is to be improved, these punishments are given. So, these punishments of sins are given. Now, as the punishments of sins, the sin gets exhausted, but at the same time it has an advantageous phase, that is, by such difficulties the devotion increases. The devotee becomes more close to God in difficulties than in happiness. So, his devotion is increasing, that shows the face of God's grace. The devotee is becoming close to God in difficulties, and that shows the grace of God. So, both the faces are there. See, he is giving punishment. Because the devotee has done some sin, he has given the difficulty. That shows his anger. But within the anger, his grace is also present as another face. That is, by the difficulties, through in the time of the difficulties, the devotion of the devotee is increasing. He is increasing the devotion. You see, for example, if you take the hell shows, we think that hell indicates the anger of God, because their punishments are given. But hell also indicates the grace of God, the love of God. See, so that the punishments are given, and by punishments some reformation is brought in the soul, and therefore that shows the reformation of the soul, and hence that shows the grace of God or love of God on the soul. So therefore both are present, both exist together, like darkness and light coexist in one place. That is told in by Shankara in the commentary of Brahma Sutras. That is tamah prakashavad viruddha subhavavayoho. Like tamas and prakasha, darkness and light exist in one place. Here anger and grace exist in one place. How it is possible? How light and darkness can exist in one place? It is possible for the unimaginable God. For unimaginable God, all impossibilities are possible. This again shows the omnipotence of God. You are seeing anger on one side and grace on the other side. Both are existing together. That is, even if he is becoming angry, he is becoming angry by giving punishments. But in that anger, love is existing. Love is existing. The punishment is doing a reformation of the soul, and the soul is benefited. That is again love. See, anger is of two types. Anger has two faces. One is to punish somebody for doing the sin. That is the face of the anger. And the other face is punishing the sinner to bring a reformation in him. That shows the love and grace of God on the soul, on the basic soul. See, soul as sinner is external appearance. But after all, in the inner sense, it is the soul. It is the issue of God. See, just your son is doing some mistake. You become angry and shout, and sometimes even you beat. Is it anger or love? Tell me.
Love.
It is both. The anger is having hidden love.
Yeah.
The ultimate goal of your anger is only love.
Yes, Swami.
So therefore, God never becomes angry. Even though he becomes angry, it can be interpreted, it can be understood as love only.
Right.
So both exist together. Okay.
Thank you so much, Swami.
Okay. Okay.
So one more question, Swami.
Mm.
This is regarding Jainism.
Mm.
Here, lifestyles of the Shvetambaras and Digambaras
Mm.
are different,
Mm.
and they are different sects also,
Mm.
and their eating habits and fasting are totally different.
Mm.
Both sects same.
ఏంది
No?
it is
Could you repeat your question, please?
discontinued.
Hello, 1 second, Swami.
Mm.
Signals are not clear.
Mm.
Anyone please tell.
Mm.
Hello?
Mm.
Anita ji, can you just repeat the last part of the question? The Digambara and the Shvetambaras are two sects within Jainism.
Mm.
So, what is the final question?
Their lifestyles are different.
Mm.
Is the goal of both the sexes same?
Mm.
What do they preach actually?
What do they preach?
What should we learn from them?
I see. This Digambara and Shvetambara. Digambara means without medium. non-mediated God is called as Digambara. Mediated God is called as Shvetambara. Shvetambara in the sense if the medium is of Sattvam quality. Shvetam indicates the Sattvam quality, and Rajas indicates red quality, red color, and Tamas indicates black color. So these three gunas. So Shvetambara means God mediated with Sattva guna is Shvetambara. God non-mediated by any medium, that is the unimaginable God, is called as Digambara. Digambara does not mean becoming naked, leaving clothes. That is completely a misunderstanding. Digambara means, Ambara means medium. The unimaginable God is mediated for the sake of expression. See, no naked fellow can come into the street. So nobody can see a Digambara, a naked fellow. It is forbidden. So similarly, unimaginable God can't be seen by anybody. He can't be even imagined. That is the meaning of Digambara. Digambara means not to become naked. And Shvetambara means the same unimaginable God mediated by the medium having predominant Sattvam. For example, Rama, God Rama, God Buddha. So all these are Shvetambaras. Shvetambara means their upadhi is predominated by Sattvam, good quality, Sattvam quality. So Shvetambara and Digambara do not have any sense of clothing and unclothing, not declothing and clothing. That has nothing to do with the clothing and declothing. It is applied, it is a simile. Just like a Digambara, a naked fellow, cannot be seen by anybody because he won't come in the street, he won't come outside without any cloth. So he is not seen. The unimaginable God without medium is called Digambara. Digambara, Digambara. Digambara, Digambara, Sripada Vallabha Digambara. Sripada Vallabha never was without clothes. We always sing that song, Sripada Vallabha Digambara. Was there any minute in which Sripada Vallabha was naked? Never. Sripada Vallabha was always having clothes on his body. And Sripada Vallabha, even if he becomes naked, he is having cloth of the body. So this has nothing to do with the cloth. It only means the cloth is compared to the body. See, body is like cloth. In Gita also it is told, Vasamsa jirnani yadha vihaya navani grunhati naro parani. The soul takes the body like we leave the old cloth and wear fresh cloth. Similarly, the soul leaves the old body and takes a fresh body. So here, this Ambara means body, medium, not cloth. It is a misunderstood sense. Digambara means one should be without clothes. See, if one wants to be without clothes, he should go to Himalayas and must stay in the caves. He must not come into the society. That is a completely misunderstood concept. Digambara means unimaginable God who is not mediated. And Shvetambara means God, unimaginable God mediated by the body having predominant Sattvam. If it is Raktambara, means unimaginable God mediated by the body having a lot of Rajas, just like God Narasimha, God Parashurama. They are all Raktambaras having Krodha, that is Rajas. And unimaginable God mediated by Tamas is black body, like Krishna. So you see, these colors, this Shvetambara means Sattvam. Ambara means medium and not the cloth at all. It is completely misunderstood. Okay?
Okay, understood.
Mm.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. ఎంత అయింది టైము? ఇంకా 25 మినిట్స్ ఉంది. ఓకే.
Swami,
Ah.
పేరు భరత్ కృష్ణ. నాది ఒక I have a small question. The question is, for example, there is a excellent satsang going on like the one we are having right now. Like you are speaking, it is so beautiful. At the same time, suppose like I am traveling in a train and there is a co-passenger, and he is showing interest in spiritual knowledge, and it is an opportunity to share the knowledge given to me by you to him. In that situation, should I choose to listen to satsanga which I like, or should I avoid that and spend that time in speaking to that co-passenger, which is important? Because listening to the satsanga for me it will be beneficial because I will learn something. But when I speak to co-passenger, what I know I will share with that person. So the other one will be beneficial to me. Which is more important? Please share your opinion.
You see, both are important, both are beneficial. You see, you are listening the knowledge in one satsanga. That is just like you are taking food. And in the other satsanga, you are spending, you are speaking it out, you are letting the knowledge out of yourself. That is just like doing exercise. You are sending out the energy that is obtained from the eaten food. Both are necessary. Unless you do exercise, you can't eat again, you know. And unless you eat, you can't do exercise. Both are interdependent. See, what you heard and what you understood, that must be shared with others. And after sharing with others, you will come back to the first type of satsanga. You will listen. You will listen. You will also do some thinking. And if any questions come, you must ask in the first type of satsanga again. Then when you come to a thorough stage of knowledge, completely without any doubt, because when you share with a co-passenger, he may put some doubt suddenly. You must be prepared. You must be ready with the answers of all the doubts. You must exhaust all the doubts. Then the knowledge is ready for propagation. If anybody asks any question, immediately you should give the answer. So when you have such knowledge, that is ready for propagation. Of course, you can do also, you can tell what you know to the co-passenger, and again, if suppose he asks some doubt and suppose you are unable to answer that doubt, you tell him, you give me your phone number, I will consult my Guruji and I will phone to you and give the answer back. Like that also it can be done. See, both input and output, both are necessary. Then
Swami, Jayur Datta, Pawan maట్లాడుతాను.
Tell me.
Swami, he was listening to one of the discourses by somebody, so where he was posting that in Vedas, okay, there is no reference of idol worship anywhere. So
No reference, sir?
There is no reference of idol worship.
Idol worship.
So is it true, Swami? Because I didn't read Vedas. I don't know. I mean, I just heard it. I'm requesting you to clarify this.
You see, in one Upanishad it is told, Natasya Pratima Asti. God doesn't have idol. That is the original unimaginable God.
Yes, sir.
God doesn't have idol. You see, even the idol represents only mediated God
Yes, sir.
and not the unimaginable God.
Yes, yes, sir.
So, natasya pratima asti, there that word tasya means unimaginable God and not the mediated God. See, that we are telling in our philosophy, our philosophy is we start with unimaginable God.
Yes.
And then he became mediated for the sake of devotees. And his first energetic incarnation is God Datta. Then followed Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, etc. So many energetic incarnations. Then so many human incarnations. So for all these incarnations, the root source is God Datta. And who is the root source of God Datta? Who created the energetic body of God Datta? The unimaginable God called Parabrahman. Parabrahman is called as Nirgunam. And God Datta is Saguna Brahma. Unimaginable God is called as Nirguna Brahma and God Datta is called as Saguna Brahma. So the theory speaks everything clearly. You see, that is one stage, this is another stage. You see, somebody goes into the bathroom to take bath, he will not have any cloth.
Yes, sir.
Manusmriti says that one should not take bath without cloth, you know.
Yes.
But in the present modern trend, everybody is taking bath without cloth in the bathroom. So that is first stage. Then when he comes out of the bathroom, he wears the towel, you know, and comes out.
Yes, sir.
So there are two stages. One stage in the bathroom while taking bath. Second stage is after taking bath, covered by towel, he comes out. He or she.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So both stages are existing. If you say that, he is without towel, yes, I agree, he is without towel in the bathroom while taking bath in that stage. And
Question is like this, sir. Maybe I didn't say it correct.
you see, idol is nothing but a representation of the body medium.
Yes, sir.
Idol represents the mediated God. When the God is mediated in a form, why not we have an idol?
Yes.
When the God is, you see, if a photo is taken, when the photo is taken only when somebody is with cloths, you know.
Yes.
When somebody is without cloth in the bathroom, photo is not taken.
Correct.
Now, photo is the idol. Person with the cloths is Saguna Brahma. Person without the cloth in the bathroom is Nirguna Brahma.
Yes, sir.
When the person is always without cloth in the bathroom only and never comes out, then there is no photo.
Yes.
But when he wears cloth and comes out of the bathroom and a photo is taken, why should you fight against the photo? Photo is taken for a person having clothes. If you are fighting against the photo, it means you are fighting against the person wearing clothes.
Yes, Swami. Swami, it was stated.
Huh?
Swami, it was stated that Pratima Alpa Buddhi Nam is also.
That is also there in Manusmriti. Pratima Hyalpa Buddhi Nam.
But Swamiji, actually in this Kathopanishad, the existence of Saguna Brahma is very clearly said because Yame Vaishya Vrunate
Tena Labhya.
Tanum Swam.
Tanum Swam. Yes.
Tanu is clearly he is in a mediated body.
Yes.
So once the mediated body exists, there is no doubt
will not do Pratima worship because by saying
That is-
Satya Pratima,
Yes,
we
yes.
are assuming that people are doing Pratima puja,
Yeah.
but he is not the Pratima. That is what is being clarified.
See,
Veda definitely says that Saguna Brahma exists.
yes,
If that is what Pavan is actually hinting at.
yes.
So Veda definitely says a mediated God exists.
Hmm.
And indirectly it is also saying that Pratima puja was also going on
Yes,
in Vedic times also.
yes, yes. Pratima, Pratima.
Before you also said that Manishim Tarmashitam is also what you said. So
Yes, yes. Manushin Tanvashitam. Yes.
So, but I wanted to understand if, Saguna Brahma is quoted in Veda, and Dr. Nikhil, I think, he clarified it. Yeah. Yes, Swami. That was the question actually.
See,
Without awareness, no, for the people without awareness, they will go to the Pratima worship, idol worship. Alpa Buddhinam is for the beginners only, showing that God comes in the human form like this, like this, like this.
see, Alpa Buddhina me.
God
You see,
comes in the form of awareness.
let me tell. Alpa Buddhi means the entire human race. See, Alpajnaha, Sarvajnaha. That is the difference between Alpajna is not, Alpa Buddhi does not mean a fool of the in the humanity. Because suppose you say that Alpa Buddhi means a very low grade fellow in the humanity, okay. Let me take the highest grade fellow of the humanity. Can he imagine the unimaginable God?
No.
So whoever imagines, he is Alpa Buddhi. That means every human being is Alpa Buddhi. Because nobody can imagine the unimaginable God, who is Sarva Buddhi. Nobody can imagine the unimaginable God. And everybody can imagine only the mediated God. So Pratima Alpa Buddhina means he is not, Alpa Buddhi does not mean the low grade people of human beings. Alpa Buddhi means the entire human beings. There ends the matter. Alpa Buddhi does not mean a low grade fellow of the humanity. Alpa Buddhi means every fellow of the humanity. Why? Because no human being can imagine unimaginable God. Any human being can imagine only the mediated God. And there is no difference between mediated God and the idol. See, after all, what is idol? Idol is just a photo of the mediated God, is it not? If you are opposing the photo, you are opposing the person who has entered that photo. That means you are opposing the mediated God.
Chaitanya was there. Even in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna told that God.
See what it means. Natasya Pratimasti means a photo can't be taken about a person who is without clothes. Natasya Pratima Asti. Tasya means naked fellow. Pratima means photo. Asti. For a naked fellow, there can't be a photo. Is it not over? What is meant by naked fellow? Unimaginable God. Unimaginable God can't have idol. Okay?
One more difference also shall be made. One more difference like
One thing, the difference. Hello, let me complete. One difference is that you are worshipping photo or you are worshipping the person present in the photo. There is a difference. See, you are pouring milk and curd on the idol. Instead of that, why don't you give the milk and curd to the mediated God? There is a difference between mediated God and idol.
Yes.
Though there is no difference between mediated God and idol from the point of the structure, from the point of the form, etc., but when you do service, there is a difference between mediated God and idol.
Yes, sir.
You are wasting all the materials on the idol, which are not necessary, which go waste. If you give the same to mediated God, He will enjoy, He will be pleased, you will be also getting satisfaction.
Yes, Swami. Yes.
So there is a difference between idol worship and mediated God in the point of service. But in the form of in the point of the form, in the point of the structure, what is the difference between the mediated God and the idol? There is no, you see, how the mediated God looks. How Krishna looks. I see a beautiful picture of photo of Krishna. He looks like that. In that way, there is no difference between the mediated God and idol. But while doing service, if I say that there is no difference between mediated God and idol, you don't give milk to the mediated God, but you pour the milk on the idol, which go waste, is it not? So, doing service to mediated God is better than doing service to idol. But
One statement also made, Swami. Bhuteja yanti bhutani.
That's what I am telling. Bhut ijja. Ijja means yajna. Yajna means practical worship. When you come to the practical worship, then the idol is different from the mediated God. Rama is different from the idol of Rama. So you can serve Rama. See, he is in difficulties. You are doing some service. He is hungry. You are giving some fruits. He is eating the fruits. So while doing the practical service, there is a difference between mediated God and idol. But when you are involved in theoretical service like meditation, seeing the person, the personality, both are one and the same. Idol and mediated God are one and the same. Because it's just a photo of the form of the mediated God. So in theoretical worship, the idol and mediated God are one and the same, whereas in the practical worship, there is a lot of difference between mediated God and idol. Okay?
Yes, Swami.
Thank you very much, Swami. Excellent.
You gave full clarification.
Yes, this is very important.
Yes, sir.
Because if I say that mediated God and photo are one and the same, instead of giving milk to the mediated God, let me pour the milk on the idol. You will say like that.
Yes, Swami.
Then I will oppose Pratimahya Buddhi Nam.
Yes, sir.
That fellow is a low grade fellow of humanity.
Yes, sir.
When God Rama is present before you, instead of giving milk to God Rama, you are pouring the milk on Rama's idol,
Yes, sir.
while God Rama is standing before you. Then he is Alpa Buddhi.
Yes, sir.
Really a low grade. But when you say that he is mediated God, he is not unimaginable God, unimaginable God is present, he is mediated God, then the idol is almost the same as mediated God. The mediated God, how he looks, how beautiful he is, what is his color, how like that, what is his form. For that, the idol and mediated God both can be treated as one and the same. In that context, Alpa Buddhi means all the humanity. Okay, now both the meanings have places, they are different places, different meanings. Okay?
Yes, Swami. He is very good, Swami. Excellent.
Alpa Buddhi can mean the entire humanity. Alpa Buddhi can mean a low grade fellow of the humanity. a low grade fellow of the humanity when he is doing practical worship.
Yes.
But just when he is seeing, then Alpa Buddhi means the entire humanity. Okay. What is time?
Excellent, Swami. Excellent.
Okay.
Swami,
Really
Ah.
wonderful explanation given.
Yes, yes, very good,
How
very
to
good.
portray.
Very good
Really
point.
pushed wonderfully explained. The same word, how to we take, how to understand the same word is different.
Ah. Yes. Okay.
Swami,
Hmm.
Swami, this is not so important question, but I have this question for a very long time.
Hmm.
If someone pours milk on our head, is it really nice? Does God really enjoy that? Even in human incarnation, like if someone pours milk on your head,
No,
will
no,
it
no,
be
no,
nice?
no, 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 no. I never told pour milk on mediated God. Give milk to mediated God so that he will drink. Pouring the milk on head, is it not foolishness?
Yes, Swami. Yes.
I-
It will not be nice.
Because milk is called as complete food, you know.
Yes.
So the milk shall be given to the mediated God so that he will drink it. That is a real service.
Understood.
You see, if you pour milk, whether it is mediated God or idol of mediated God, both are one and the same foolish service.
Okay,
Both are foolish services. There is no difference. Then such a fellow is Alpa Buddhi, a low grade fellow of humanity. Okay, it is 9:30.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. 9:22.
Okay, okay. If there is no question, we will go to Mahima.
Yes, sir.
4-5 minutes that side, this side, okay. Hello, Ajay Garu. Hello, Ajay Garu. Namaste. Namaste.
In continuation to our earlier two Mahimas of Swami giving Lord Dattatreya's vision, this is the third one. Sri Subramanyam is a strong devotee of Sri Ganapati Satchidananda Swamiji, a human incarnation of Lord Dattatreya. He was such ardent devotee of Swamiji that his last rituals were got conducted by Swamiji himself. Sri Subramanyam came to Swami in Vijayawada and expressed his desire to go to Ganagapur. And stay there for the Swami told him, postpone your journey to Ganagapur for a few days to have another journey decided by Lord Datta. Sri Subramanyam thought that he has to visit some other fireplace and postponed his journey. Within few days, he became seriously ill and died in the hospital at Mysore. He got the divine vision of Lord Dattatreya in the last hour, which was described by him to his wife as his last words, which were, I am seeing Lord Dattatreya standing before me with brilliant radiation. Each of his three faces is only the face of Sri Datta Swami present in Vijayawada. One sage is sitting at his feet, throwing flowers on him. You please go to Vijayawada and worship him, by which you will certainly get the salvation. His wife came to Vijayawada and explained this vision and worshipped Swami. D. Srimati Lavanya is an ardent devotee of Sri Datta Swami. She invited Swami for meals to her house in Vijayawada. Her mother-in-law was a great devotee of Sri Paramacharya of Kanchipitam. She was having a strict discipline that she will not bow to any human being except Paramacharya. She clearly told all the people in the house that she will give food to Swami but not bow to him. Swami went to her house and sat on a seat. her mother-in-law was also sitting on a chair without even standing on the arrival of Swami. All people in the house bowed to Swami by touching his holy feet. She looked at Swami in casual way when all the people finished their salutations to Swami. Swami appeared as Lord Dattatreya with three faces radiating. She stood and ran fast and fell on the feet of Swami. People couldn't digest this unexpected turn. She was not speaking to anybody for 4 days and was maintaining perfect silence. All the people asked her about her silence due to shock. She revealed the reason, telling, when I looked at the face of Swami, three divine faces of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva appeared, radiating bright light, and I was shocked. Swami explained, her devotion to Paramacharya is good, since he is praised as God walking in human form. Devotion to one form is not wrong, but forms of God is not correct. This is the basis for the split of religions and quarrels in this world. If you are traveling in the path from your house to the center, there is nothing wrong. But if you say that you will not respect the path starting from other houses, since they will not lead to the same center, that becomes wrong. Respect to your path is appreciated, but disrespect to the other path is to be condemned, and hence the above vision was given to her. There is nothing wrong if she says that she will bow to Paramacharya only. This is a conservative thought following one path with full rigidity. But when she said that she will not bow anybody else, that becomes wrong, since it is negation of other similar divine personalities. Once Swami was taken by devotees to a great saint called Vishwamji in Guntur, who was considered to be the incarnation of Lord Datta. Swami asked the devotees to go back. Vishwamji honored Swami by covering him with very precious Kashmir shawl. After that, Vishwamji told his disciple to take Swami to the house of his brother called Vishwanatha Sharmaji, saying that Swami should be given Diksha, which means food to be given with worship to a saint. Somehow, there was communication gap and Sharmaji misunderstood the word Diksha as food to be given to a poor beggar, since this word can mean in both ways. Sharmaji asked Swami to sit on a stone near his compound wall, misunderstanding Swami as a real beggar by seeing the torn and dirty dress of Swami. Sharmaji was also an ardent devotee of Lord Datta who wrote several books on God Datta. Swami sat on the stone like beggar. Sharmaji took bath in his house and came to the side of the house having several flowering plants to pluck the flowers for his daily worship. Sharmaji collected all types of flowers in a big basket and was approaching to the side of Swami to take a turn towards his house. Sharmaji looked at Swami in a casual way. Swami appeared as Lord Dattatreya, shining. Sharmaji ran to Swami, poured all the flowers on head of Swami and fell on his feet. Swami was taken into house with full honor from all the family members and was worshipped by offering meals. Swami explained, Sharmaji was great devotee of God Datta, but Sharmaji misunderstood Swami as a beggar due to external dress. The internal core is always important, like a golden chain of pearls lying on the ground covered with dust. Lord Dattatreya is never recognized due to the external covering illusion, since he appears as a drunkard, mad, and surrounded by prostitutes. A scholar like Sharmaji, who wrote several books on God Datta, was also misled like this in the context of practical tests. Knowledge becomes useful only when it is implemented in practical situations. Swami Shivananda Maharaj Ji came to Vijayawada, who was considered to be the direct disciple of Narasimha Saraswati. He was doing several miracles and huge crowds of devotees were visiting him. The devotees of Swami were not having full faith in Swami, who were wavering with doubt whether Swami is really the human incarnation of God Datta. The devotees planned to take Swami to Maharajji so that the truth will come out, and requested Swami that all the devotees along with Swami shall visit Maharajji. Swami refused to face Maharajji, and the doubt of devotees became more and more strong. Somehow, all forced Swami by repeated requests and visited Maharajji along with Swami. Swami was expecting 1 minute. All four Swami was expressing fear on the way to see such divine personality, and this made the devotees to arrive to the conclusion that Swami is fearing since his truth will come out. Datta is entertained by enjoying in his play in that way. As soon as Swami was seen, Maharajji stood and garlanded Swami with a big flower garland, crying loudly, Jaya Jaya Datta, victory to Datta, and fell on the feet of Swami. All were shocked by this incident, and Maharajji asked his disciples to bow to the pious feet of God Datta. All, including the spectators, followed the instruction. Maharajji told our devotees that Swami is the human form of Lord Datta. My mother invited Maharajji to her house for worship. Maharajji told her, you have Lord Datta in human form directly in your house, and what is the fun of inviting me? Swami was staying in my house during those days. Maharajji told Ajay, if you think that Datta enters Swami now and then only, you are slipping totally. Datta always stays in this Swami. Ajay was thinking that when Swami gives spiritual knowledge, Datta enters Swami and leaves after this speech is over. Actually, this was an illusion created by Swami himself, who stated to all devotees that Datta enters him only in the time of speech. Next day, Swami was hiding himself in the backside of the statue of Sai Baba in a nearby temple along with me and Ajay, since the whole area was filled with lot of crowd visiting Maharajji. Maharajji is totally unaware of the visit of Swami. Maharajji immediately visited this temple of Sai Baba, went to the backside of the statue where Swami was hiding himself, and touched the feet of Swami. All this made the devotees of Vijayawada to confirm their faith in Swami. Swami explained, I gave the vision to Sri Narasimha Saraswati to Maharajji, for whose vision he was very much anxious. At the same time, the faith of our devotees is totally confirmed by this vision. This served both the purposes. Removal of doubt of a devotee is essential, especially when the doubt is created by me only. Datta makes the devotees to swing between faith and doubt, who are lulled like small babies in the cradle. Giving vision as God Brahma. On the third floor of the house of Sri CBK Murthy, a room was specifically allotted for the shrine of Lord Dattatreya. Just before the shrine, a big precious bed was arranged on which Sri Swami used to sleep whenever he stays in their house. One day, in night, Sri CVK Murthy tried to look into the room through the window while Swami was sleeping on the bed. Sri Swami awoke and warned him not to see like that. Sri Swami told, even if I do not sleep on this bed with this human body, I sleep on this bed with my energetic body. Hence, do not look through window, and let the windows be also bolted tight like the doors. From that day onwards, whatever told by Swami was followed strictly. But the first daughter-in-law of Sri CBK Murthy, Srimati Sri Lakshmi, did not believe these words of Swami. She was also feeling embarrassed while Swami was lying on the bed, putting his feet on the bed arranged for the Lord. The month of Kartika came, and in one night she went to the third floor and lit a light outside the shrine as per the usual custom of ritual in that month. Then she She thought to look into the room through loose gaps of the door of window. That night, Swami was not sleeping in that room, and as per the words of Swami, Swami should sleep in that room with his energetic body. Thinking that all this is gossip of Swami, she went near the window and looked into the room through gaps. She was shocked and dumbstruck. Lord Datta, with three heads and six hands, was lying on the bed with closed eyes, emitting an ocean of dazzling white light of color of camphor. She was shocked and ran down. She could not speak any word to anybody in that night and spent sleepless night with tension and anxiety. Next day, she was in normal condition and told everything in the house. Swami came that day and told that she looked the radiation of Brahma Tejas, as a result of her penance for past several births. Swami explained this vision. Rajas is inert energy of Brahma. Sattvam is awareness of Vishnu. Tamas is solidified energy called matter of Shiva. All these three are the instruments and materials for creation. Awareness is used in planning. Inert energy and inert matter are used as the building materials. Inert energy is the primary cause, and hence Brahma is said to be the creator. The specific work form of inert energy is awareness. Inert matter is another form of inert energy only. Inert energy was the first creation as per the Veda, Sattejo Srijata. Such primordial energy is called as the radiation of God Brahma or Brahma Tejas. By the grace of God Datta, she was not harmed by the intensive vision. Any one of these three qualities is always associated with the other two qualities. Hence, Brahma or Vishnu or Shiva can be linked to any one of these three qualities as per the context. In the above vision, the energetic medium alone is expressed. The energetic form is also superimposed on this human body, and in such case, I will appear as the energetic form of Lord Dattatreya or any other form of God. Due to intensive radiation of energetic form, my human body gets masked and becomes invisible. For example, when the light is glowing intensively, the glass bulb gets masked by the intensive radiation and becomes invisible. It will just look like a block of light energy only. This is the scientific mechanism of the visions. Of course, the total concept can't be explained by science because the appearance of energetic form itself is beyond science. When the energetic form disappears, I become visible as usual. Jnanam veha vibhudirva yatkinchid maya sarvam
Datta Guroreva.
deva chavalyantu mama dhruvam. Namaskar.
Okay, very good.
Swami.
Next, Bhakti Ganga. So today several visions were covered.
Yes, Swamiji. Very nice, Swamiji.
Several miracles, several visions.
In several forms you are appeared with so many people, so you given vision to them. That's it. Brahma in the form of Brahma, the form of Vishnu.
Your explanations in Mahima Yamuna is added this one. It is very good, Swami.
Yes.
Excellent explain all the reasons and all. How this Mahima, why this Mahima has been done by Swami.
Yes, One statement was told that Jnana Saraswati flows under Yamuna as well as Ganga. So in the songs of Bhakti Ganga, the Jnana Saraswati is flowing under. And similarly in the Mahima Yamuna, in the miracles, also the Jnana Saraswati is flowing below. Below both Ganga and Yamuna, the Saraswati is flowing. So, in Mahima Yamuna, what is that Saraswati? What is that knowledge, spiritual knowledge? That I explained.
Excellent way, Richard. Thank you. Very good.
Yes.
Beautifully explained.
Yes.
1 minute. He's playing that song. There are 2 songs to come. I'll be playing them one after the other, and later if somebody wants to sing, they can continue.
वन्दे तिरन्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं वन्दे तिरन्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं वेदान्तसारं नानावतारं भक्तोपकारं भजदासं वन्दे तिरन्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदास्तं गुरुदेवं संसारसारं रुद्राक्षहारं निहारगौरं भजदासं वन्दे तिरन्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं काषाय कीलं पात्राक्षमालं आम्नायमूलं भजदासं वन्दे तिरन्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं ज्वालाक्षिभालं दत्तात्रिशूलं कण्ठायनीलं भजदासं वन्दे तिरन्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं पादान्तशास्त्रं विच्छिन्नदत्तं श्रीशङ्खचक्रं भजदासं श्रीशङ्खचक्रं भजदासं वन्दे तिरन्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं कन्दर्परूपं सौन्दर्यदीपं योगीन्द्रभूपं भजदासं वन्दे तिरन्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं मन्त्रोद्गदीयं तन्त्रार्थभाजं श्रीयन्त्रराजं भजदासं वन्दे तिरन्यं विश्वैकगम्यं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवं उन्मत्तदत्तं गुरुदेवम्
Excellent. Excellent.
Now I am playing the second one.
सुप्रीतं शङ्करं ब्रह्मनारायणं सर्वदेवात्मकं दत्तदेवं सुप्रीतं शङ्करं ब्रह्मनारायणं सर्वदेवात्मकं दत्तदेवं गुरुं इन्दिरामन्दिरं
Very good, very good. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay.
Anyone else singing bhajan?
You can close, Pani.
Yes, Swami.
Okay, Swami.
परब्रह्मसमारम्भां श्रीदत्तात्रेयमध्यमां श्रीदत्तस्वामिपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् सर्वविश्वन्यस्तपादपद्मायते वामहस्तालोलवेन्दशास्त्रायते ज्ञानसूर्यायते दत्तरूपायते श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् श्रीवेणुगोपालकृष्णाय वन्दनम् गुरुदत्त श्रीदत्त प्रभुदत्त पाहि मां विधिदत्त हरिदत्त हरदत्त रक्ष मां पाहि मां दत्त रक्ष मां दत्त स्वामी नमस्कार स्वामी
Namaste. 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 Namaste.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaskaram.
Namaste.
Namaskaram.
Namaste.